you have to include Blyer and Harris because they complement each other so very well.
Critics will say the Pittsburgh ground game lacks depth, but in this man, number 32, the Steelers get just what they want on the ground, and that is an awful lot of consistency.
Well, Bryant, you talk about a money back. You know, Franco Harris, in 13 postseason games, he has gained 1,206 yards. He's scored 13 touchdowns. In 5 of those games, he's gained over 100 yards. He is a joy to watch.
Certainly he is something special. Great acceleration for a big man. The guy who will have to keep a sharp eye on him today is Bob Brunig, the man in the middle of the Dallas defense, kind of an enigma in Dallas land.
He is an enigma because he has been unable to make Dallas fans forget about the all-time great Leroy Jordan, but he's good because, like I said before, he carries out that game plan very well.
Brunig is flanked on one side by a lot of experience in D.D. Lewis, and on the other side by a lot of pizzazz and quickness in Hollywood Henderson.
Well, Thomas Hollywood Henderson, people get down on him because he talks so much. The reason why he talks so much is he can play. He can back up all of those words, and he can roam from sideline to sideline and really break open a game with those devastating interceptions of his.
On offense, the Steelers have consistency in Harris. On offense, the Cowboys have a world of speed in this man, 33, Tony Dorsett.
Well, Earl Campbell and Walter Payton might be better all-around backs, but for sheer breakaway ability, Tony Dorsett has it all. He will be a key for the Steelers. Stop him early, you can frustrate Tony, and perhaps we might see Preston Pearson come in the game if that happens.
Scott Laidlaw and Robert Newhouse provide a change of pace, but this man makes it go. His one tendency to cough up the football could be a problem today, though, because the Steeler linebackers like to make you cough it up.
If there is an adjective that describes the Pittsburgh linebackers, it's opportunism. Jack Ham is probably the best. He's been a virtual all-pro in every season that he has played, and he's got that innate ability to, that football instinct that not many players have.
They even get it from part-timers. You take this man, Robin Cole. He shares time with Lauren Taves, but he has a knack for being around the ball, for being around when it's coughed up, and coming up with it, which is the second part of that equation. But the man who makes it happen in the middle is the man with the big smile, 58, Jack Lambert.
Well, Thomas Henderson calls him Count Dracula, and actually he is the Steelers' enforcer, and what he will not let happen is the Steelers to get intimidated.
You know, you come into a big game of this nature, and normally you talk about control of the ball game being held in a quarterback's hands or a running back's hands. But really, the trio of linebackers the Steelers have, they're so good, they can take a game and dominate it, and that's why the Cowboys' offensive backfield so important today.
Bryant, you said it all. If the Dallas Cowboys' offensive backfield, Dorsett and Scott Laidlaw, can keep them off balance, make them respect their running ability and their ability to catch the ball, Pittsburgh could have some problems.
Certainly the people involved in the running back positions and the linebacking positions have no illusions about what their objectives are as they head into Super 13. We talked to some of the principals involved during the week.
I expect Dallas to run my side. Most offenses, except maybe for in Oakland, are a right-handed team, meaning they'll run to a defensive left, and I expect running plays my way, and you know, they execute pretty well, and they think that they can move the football on anybody, and I'll see about a running game.
If coming from a running back's viewpoint, you know, we are more involved with than any is the linebackers, you know, and we feel that if we're going to run the ball, we're going to have to block Jack Lambert because he's the key in their defense, and they have those big people up front with Joe Green and LC and Dwight White and Finesse, and they're fantastic people, and they do a great job.
As I understand, through the papers, is going to become more aggressive in this game. He doesn't like the gentleman agreement that we've had over the last times that we've played, and he said that's out the window, and he's going to play very aggressive. So I anticipate a very aggressive game from D.D. Lewis. But of course, Tom Henderson, and the way Tom's been talking all year, he's going to be aggressive no matter what he does.
Notice that they don't run a lot of end runs his way. He's a good, maybe a pass receiver, running routes, but I don't see how he could replace Cunningham. Coming from that statue of a 6'6", 245 tight end, come down to a 6'1" tight end, it would have to hurt your end run or the confidence of to run that way. You know, with Cunningham over there, he covered a lot of area there, and he could take on defensive ends, but Grossman I don't think can do that.
As we continue to note the strength and balance of the Steelers in those scouting reports, you begin to understand why some people have suggested that they are a perfect team. They aren't, in fact. They lost 2 games already this year. Only once has a team reached this stage perfectly, and that was the Miami Dolphins in Super 7.
The year was 1973. On January 14th, the media came to Super Bowl VII in hopes of witnessing football history. If the Miami Dolphins could beat the Washington Redskins, they would become the only team to finish a season with a perfect 17-0 record. The Dolphin defense did its part, by shutting down the Redskin attack completely. Washington's only touchdown came on the most bizarre scoring play in Super Bowl history, when Miami kicker Garo Yepremian tried to pass a blocked kick. He produced a classic moment of football surrealism. This temporary upswing in Redskin fortunes meant little in the overall story of the game. Miami notched 2 first-half touchdowns, which proved to be enough for the margin of victory. The Dolphins had done it. In just 6 years, they had gone from a ragtag expansion team to world champions. 17-0, a perfect season that may never be duplicated. The year was 1974, January 13th. The Miami Dolphins in Super Bowl VIII, a record-setting 3rd straight appearance. Their opponents, the Purple Gang, the Minnesota Vikings, replete with a hardy core of loyal followers. But their day was ruined by one particular group of men, a unit that dominated the contest from the moment it began. The Miami offensive line, a line some call the finest ever assembled. Their names were Little, Langer, Kuchenberg, Evans, and more. They rocked Minnesota's defensive line back on its heels, and Dolphin fullback Larry Zonka used his incredible strength to run through what remained. Miami tallied 4 times before Minnesota could score once. 2 of the Dolphin touchdowns came from Zonka, whose 145 yards set a new Super Bowl rushing record. It was the Dolphins' 2nd straight championship win, the Vikings' 2nd Super Bowl defeat.
Fran Tarkenton Super 8 was one of 3 losing Super efforts for you. How long does the hurt linger after something like that?
Well, it's been 5 years since Super Bowl VIII, and the hurt is still there, and I don't think it'll ever go away.
Is it helped out any, Fran, by a belief that I know you have, that the better team won each time?
Well, it really is. When we went into that game, we thought we were the better of the 2 teams. Other people might have thought we weren't, but we did, and we believed we could have won.
And every player has to go into the game thinking that way, doesn't he?
I'm sure both teams today think the same thing. They're the best team.
Fran and I spent a lot of time this week talking to a lot of players, as did our buddy Mike Adamle.